I'm supposed to talk about Facebook moms groups, which I've spent way more time in than I would ever like to admit these last few years. But first, I'll tell you a little story about a little girl named Bethany. She's a rambunctious, ADHD, speech impediment, crazy hair, wore her brother's hand-me-downs. And she was homeschooled until 8th grade, and then I went to public school where I struggled a whole lot. And my parents had put me in dance when I was little because they needed me to move somewhere else. So, and I loved it, and it was the only thing I loved. And I hated school, hated high school, was a very rebellious teenager, and then went to college for dance because that was the only thing I knew how to do. And I had awesome years traveling and performing, and then when I was like 27, I was like, it would be nice to have health insurance and a retirement and a regular paycheck and be able to have a family and all that. Like, so my brother lives in Las Vegas and he's a teacher and his wife is a teacher, so they're like, move on out here, and we're desperate for teachers, so they have an alternate route to licensure program. So I did it. I saved up for that year, working 3 jobs as I always did, and moved out to Las Vegas, and I was becoming a teacher. I got accepted into the program, and I went through 6 weeks of training, and then they gave me a classroom. And that very first week in the classroom, I started acting out my dreams, which sounds funny, and may have been a little bit funny at first, but that went on pretty much every night, nightly, for multiple times a night for 7 years, up until right now. It's still happening, still happening. That happened the first week I started teaching, and I loved teaching. I loved being a teacher. It was like I felt it was my calling because I had hated school so much, and I just wanted, and I had so many students who were where I was back then, and I was one of the only teachers who I felt was able to really connect with them. But also, I felt like such a failure because I was untrained, and I have the biggest heart to give to them, but I don't know how to manage all of them. And so that's why the nightmare started. I had the same nightmare every night for 2 years, that I was walking around my room looking for the light switch because my classroom was dark and my principal was coming. And that was the same nightmare every night for 2 years in that school. So multiple times a night, my husband would just wake up to banging on the walls, and so that was rough. And then I moved schools and it got a little better and I had a little more experience, but I was still having nightmares. I was still so stressed. And of course I was also teaching dance at nighttime and going to school to get my teaching license, because I don't ever just do one thing. So I was really stressed, and I had met my husband like 5 minutes after I moved to Las Vegas, and we were married at that point. And he knew, he just saw what it was doing to me. And he wanted babies like 3 minutes after we got married, and I was like, I can't, look at me, I'm a mess, I can't. How can I go to work every day and come home and be the mom I want to be? I want to be the best mom I can be, and I'm not going to be the best mom if I am so stressed from this job. And so the nightmares continued. I would have nightmares. I would wake up screaming in the middle of the night because my students were surrounding me and they were zombies saying, Miss Bethany, and I would wake up screaming. That was another recurring nightmare every night. So that was getting worse, and my health was kind of getting worse because I was just so stressed. And I know every teacher who's especially taught in a Title I school knows the feeling of just pouring your heart into them and then leaving and knowing that you're not there to keep them safe anymore. And I worked at a year-round school, so even on track breaks, the nightmares didn't stop. I was still so stressed because I knew that they were just at home in a not good environment, and just the stuff you see as a teacher, it really gets to you. I think they call it compassion burnout or something. I don't know what it was, but it affected me. I have a big heart, and it affected me a lot. And so when we first moved into our house, I looked at the garage, and it was a nice finished floor, and the walls were finished, and I was like, I could do something with this. And then later that year, I was like, I gotta do something with this, because I can't do it anymore. I was killing myself. So I randomly, joy popped up, and I was like, yeah, that's what I gotta do. I looked into daycares, and I was like, I can't do the 12 hours, and that wasn't gonna work for me. So I found Joy, and I went to my husband, and I'm like, look at this. Can I do this? And he's like, well, yeah, you can do this. I'm like, sweet, I'm doing it. Next year, I'll stay 1 year, and I'll get my classroom ready, and I'll get licensed. And so that's what I did my last year of teaching. I was getting licensed, and I was creating my whole program. And then I was that teenager that you guys hired on the bike. I did it myself, and I pedaled around town. I hung up flyers in the Las Vegas heat. I had a car. I don't know why I pedaled. I was like, I'm gonna get exercise. And then a day after I did that, the world shut down, and I was like, what? Because I had already put in my resignation for May, so I had 2 months left to teach, and I was already very nervous that this plan wasn't going to work out, but I was going to do it anyway. And so then Joy was like, okay, well, I got this. We're just going to learn how to teach online. And I was like, honey, I'm teaching online. And I was like, what about this? And I was like, I don't know, we're going to do it. So in 14 days, I set up my online program. While I was waiting, I was still waiting for licensure, and they were taking their sweet time because of COVID. And so I didn't know if I was going to be able to open in July. So I got the online program, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I got like 8 students, and I was having fun. And I was still teaching with the district, but at home. And then the day before I was supposed to have my first class, my license came through, and I was like, okay, it worked out. So I had 1 class my first month. I just did 1 month of summer, and then fall started in August, and my 1 class had 5 kids in it that first month, and then by the next month I had 24 kids, and I was full. Yeah, it was a whirlwind. And then the second day of fall classes, I found out that baby Silas was in here. Yeah. So I continued my online program for that first year, and I incubated a human, and I ran classes all day in my local preschool. And I was stressed, and I was still having nightmares, but I was like, I'm doing it. I can't believe I just did this. I built a business. This is amazing. So I was on that like rush. I was on that high. I was like, I'm building a baby. I'm building a business. I'm building online. I was like, I'm building stuff. And my husband was like, remember me? Yeah, I was just like the guy that you wake up every night screaming with your, yeah, remember me? Yeah, so, and then I had the baby. I got COVID, 38 weeks pregnant, and got a blood clot in my lungs, and got pneumonia, and my planned home birth turned into a 6-day hospital stay with an emergency C-section. And I had just hired a new person, and she turned out to be not very great. And so that was a struggle, but we got through it. My maternity leave, we got through it. I hired a new person. And then that year was pretty good. I was like with baby Silas, and I was in and out of the classroom, and I was doing the admin stuff and just trying to learn how to hook things up to my boobs and stuff, you know. And then so that was great. And then the next year I was like, well, things are running great, and I don't really want to expand. I like having it in my house. I like having a small atmosphere. So the only option is online again, and I don't know. It's gonna take a lot. And my husband's like, I think if you want to do it, you should do it. And I was like, are you sure you want me to do it? He's like, yeah, I think you should do it. So, but of course, I'm not gonna be like, I'm just gonna have 1 class. I'm gonna be like, I'm actually gonna build all the classes on my platform. Wow. And then I met an all-star on the podcast, and she was like, yeah, you can learn how to green screen edit. And I was like, okay. And that started me down a rough road. Because once I started, I was like, oh my gosh, I can make really cool things. And as someone with ADD, you get super into things that you're really interested in. And I wasn't performing anymore, so that was kind of my outlet for creativity. And so the last year of my life, I poured every waking second into it, and my nightmares were getting worse and worse, and I was making it out of the room now, and my health, I've also struggled with a lot of chronic pain and weird health issues that have never been explained for about 10 years, going to doctors. So it's just something I've been dealing with. And then the nightmares started now about 7 years ago. And so I was in the thick of it. I was in the classroom, I had baby Sai, he's almost 2 now. And then I was pouring every waking second into my online preschool, that I was not with the baby or working. I would work until 1 or 2 o'clock every night, and midnight some nights, but as soon as I put the baby to bed, I was on the computer. And once again, my husband's like, me, I exist. And it was hard because I don't know how to work-life balance. It's not a thing I do. It's not really. When I get really passionate about something, I just forget about the other things that, you know, I should also be really passionate about. And so it all kind of came to a head around February. I got sick. I actually had made a post on Preschool All-Stars that I was really struggling. Joy was like, girl, you gotta slow down or else someone's gonna make you slow down. And I was like, I know. And then like the next week I got the flu and I was out. And I had to like cancel my online classes. And I was like, were they gonna be out? Like I felt bad. It was like the first time that I hadn't put out 2 episodes for that week. And my parents were obviously, like all the preschool parents were so supportive. They're like, girl, take a rest, girl, take a rest. And so I rested, and it was like 3 days, and baby Silas was also sick, so we snuggled in bed together. My husband took off work for those 2 days, and it was just like a little nest in our bed. And when I started feeling better, I was like, that was actually really nice, minus the like puking and all that, but like, that was really nice. And then I was like, I have so much work to catch up on, and but I'm not gonna stress. My preschool parents are understanding. I'm fine, I'm totally fine. And I went to bed, and for the next 3 nights, every time I closed my eyes, I woke up screaming. And since Silas has been born, unfortunately, my nightmares have turned into nightmares of him, like, dying. So I'm waking up screaming, thinking my child is dying every night. And after the 3rd night of not sleeping at all, I was so sick. I had a headache. I just felt like I had the worst hangover, and I had done no drinking. And Cameron's like, girl, you gotta figure this out. Like, I can't, it's been 7 years, and I can't deal with this anymore. And I was like, I know, like, I don't know what it is. So I doom scrolled on the Google machine for a little bit and found something called REM sleep behavior disorder. And I was like, this is what it is. This is what it is. So I used my editing skills to make a sleep compilation of all my crazy sleeps, because we had been recording me at this point for about a year. And I brought it to a sleep doctor, and he indeed said, yes, this was REM sleep behavior disorder. Which is great, I have a diagnosis, but also I realized that my dreams they're really bad when I'm really stressed and which I have been for 7 years chronically since I moved here, one thing to another. And they started when I was really stressed when I was teaching. And so I decided that I needed to, 1, let go of the teacher that I was struggling with so badly, and 2, cut down on my video recordings, because that was just the constant weekly deadline that I was always struggling to miss every week for a year. And as soon as I did that, the nightmares slowed down. And I was like, oh. Yeah, so unfortunately, this also came with the news that REM sleep behavior disorder, I haven't really talked about this with anyone, but it is the first sign of neurodegeneration in most people. So like 70 to 80% of people who get it will develop Parkinson's within 10 years of their symptoms starting, which was 7 years ago. So that was another thing that made me really decide, like, I'm killing myself for this business. And so after talking with my husband and saying, you know, like, I don't want you to suffer with this sleep stuff, and he said, babe, all of us are suffering. It's not just me, it's all of us. It's you, and I've seen you suffer for years, and it's Silas. And I got like defensive. I'm like, Silas is not suffering. Like, he is with me all day long. I don't work until he goes to sleep. And he's okay, babe. And then I talked to my therapist, and she's like, if you're not authentic, like, you can put on a happy face for him, and I know you do, but if you're not authentic and everything, he's gonna notice eventually. And he probably already is at some levels that he doesn't understand and that you don't understand. And I was like, Donna, tell that to me. Yeah. So I was like, I really have to change something, because if I only have a few great years left, then I need to stop doing this to myself. So that has been my biggest challenge this year, is realizing that for 7 years, I've been causing my nightmares with chronic stress. And then trying to change that, because I gotta do something to do that. So, and I talked to my preschool parents, who said I was having some health issues and I was gonna cut back on recording. And they sent me the most amazing compilation of their kids throughout the year, dancing and singing and learning in my class. And then Yeah, it just made me feel so good. A little, not, it calmed my anxieties. When you were talking, Quinn, I was like, girl, that's me. I worry. I don't even realize I worry until I'm asleep. And then my brain is like, girl, you're worried and I'm gonna cause nightmares. And until recently, my doctor was like, have you ever been told you have anxiety? And I'm like, no, I've never had anxiety attacks. I just worry about everything. And I just wait for, everything to collapse all the time. And, it's just worst case scenario all the time. But it's just Bethany. That's just Bethany. And they're like, no, that's anxiety. And I was like, oh. So worrying has caused so many issues in my life, and I appreciate your techniques to calm that down. I will be using them. Anyways, after all that, Facebook groups. Facebook groups. I have pretty much, I know, I went off a tangent, sorry. I hadn't shared any of that really with
we love it.
Anyway, put your family first. Put your family first, because I did all this for my future child, and now Silas is here, and he's, as I'm sure you can agree, the cutest little baby in the whole wide world. And yeah, and I want him to see me building things and working towards my dreams, and I want him to be driven, but I don't want him to ever feel like he comes second to any of this, because I did this all for him. And my husband. He's super supportive, and I've been neglecting him as well. So it's such a hard balance when we're so driven. So many of us are so driven, and I feel like so many of us have the same issue that we can't, we just have to go, we have to build, and I have so many ideas and I want to put them all in place, but you have to roll yourself back sometimes.
That's right.
Facebook groups, okay. My mom's groups are how I've gotten all my business. I put out 1 or 2 ads in the beginning and didn't get anything from them, so I've just stalked so many moms groups to the point where I'm like, moms are crazy, really crazy. Yeah, so in the beginning when I started, they would let you post some business posts, but then they kept getting spammed with MLM, and they're like, no more businesses ever. And so I'm like, oh no, that's how I get all my business. So what I do now is I slide in, I do one of those annoying introduction posts, which I don't like doing. I don't like doing any of this, but it's what you gotta do. And then I look through posts and I make sure to comment, because you don't wanna be the person who only comes in just to market your business. Although you do wanna be that, but you can't be that. So you got to get all sweetsy upsy with people, and oh yeah, I have that problem too. Oh yeah, I have that problem. I need friends too. Yeah, that's me. You know how they do. So you got to play that game, because then they're gonna look. The admins, if you ever do post something, are gonna look and see, oh, what's her history with this? This is the first post she made, and it's about her business. Clearly, she's only here to spam. So you don't want to do that. You got to get in and be, someone who talks about other stuff. And then you got to not make a post, but look for all the posts that are asking for preschool. And early on, I had gotten interviewed by Fox News, and that really helped put me out there for my local. And I would use that interview. I would, when someone would say, I need a good preschool recommendation, I would say, I'm a licensed teacher, and I started this program in my home, blah, blah, blah. It's licensed, and see what Fox News has to say about it. So I would post that. And that really helped, because it made me look super legit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it really helped. And then after that, and then once I started making videos and I was doing it for online, I would do it with a video, a clip from one of my videos. So adding that so they can see who you are and what you're doing, adding a video or some pictures of your thing, or reviews or description, something like that, so they could see that you're legit, you're not just another random mom on Facebook, so, although you are, we all are. But, so doing something like that. And then, one of the ways that I kind of got around the selling stuff was, once I made my scholarship, I posted the scholarship to the mom's pages, because then it's you're offering them something, you're not selling them something. And I gave out a few scholarships, and then people who didn't get the scholarship, I messaged back and said, unfortunately, you didn't get picked for the scholarship, but I'd still like to offer you a however long free trial. So you can do that. That got me a few people. Also, I have just been offering month-long free trials. And I phrased it like, I'm opening this new online preschool and I really want to get feedback. So I'm offering a 1-month free trial, and then I'm going to ask you give you a feedback form at the end, and I would love to hear what you thought about it. And then I give them a feedback at the end of their month. I give them a feedback form, just asking about every class, what they thought about it, how they rated it, was their child interested in it, did they have to stop it, all these things. And that was also another way that I got around it, because I'm not asking them to pay for my product. I'm giving them a free product and asking for their help in helping me make it better. So I don't talk about the price after the free trial. I just say, I'm starting this and I really need your help. Can you help me improve my program? And then and I've gotten tons of, especially like homeschool groups, I've gotten tons of responses and sent out tons of free trials, and the majority of them don't even open it, but the ones that do, they've been my clients. So once you get them to open it, then, because if you give them a month, then they're in live classes with you, then they know you at the end of the month. They're not, they're excited to see Miss Bethany, and then they know their friends, and they're excited to see their friends. My online students have been having Zoom birthday parties outside of class and calls together, so that's what the parents want, So a week I was feeling just wasn't enough. Sometimes parents didn't even get on in that week, So a month has worked really well, although it's a really long time to wait, because the first time I did that batch, I was like waiting all month, and I'm like, are they gonna sign up? Are they gonna sign up? Are they gonna sign up? So that's hard, because I like instant gratification. So waiting a month is hard, but it has worked out, because everyone I gave a month-long free trial to who opened it, who actually went on the portal, has stayed. Wow. So, I'm trying to think, any other Facebook tips? I think that's most of it, is getting cushy with all the moms and offering free stuff and making it seem like you need their help in improving, not you need their money. And yeah, not being spammy. I just search the word preschool in the groups and see where people recommend them. And now I don't even do that. Now I kind of just Golden Bird Academy and I link it. Or now it's kind of the point where I go on and I see other moms have recommended me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm the owner. If you'd like to talk, message me. Oh. So just kind of like stalking them. Like, you gotta be on there, like, and I'm reading through the stuff. I'm like, oh my God, you got it. And then I'm like, oh, preschool, okay. I'm Miss Bethany. Like, that's pretty much what I do. That's my secret. Facebook mom. Any questions? Yeah.
How many groups are you in?
A lot. A lot. I'm in a lot of local groups, and then I'm in a lot of like homeschool groups from like different places, and so I'm in a lot. Every time I find a new mom's group, I just join it.
Okay.
Yeah, as many as you can. Yeah.
So you said you do pre-recorded and live?
Yeah. I have my pre-recorded classes, and then I have a bunch of other teachers on there, and then I do lives twice a week. And I'm hopefully going to hire a teacher that can do it during the day.
And is that like a 30-minute, or how long is it?
30-minute,
okay.
Yeah. The live is just like socialization stuff. Because they're all at different points in the pre-recorded videos, because they all start at different times, so it doesn't really follow with what video I released that week, because some of them haven't made it to that. So I kind of just decided that lives are going to be for fun and games, and doing art together and scavenger hunts, and then the pre-recorded are for like academics and stuff.
So the pre-recorded, they just jump in and you already have them all done, so then they just...
I do. I have like 59, I think, classes on there now, and so they can, I was releasing them weekly, but now since they're already there, I just keep them up I just keep all of them up so they can watch whenever, so they have a whole year's worth of content, and then I will be creating more content, but not like I was last year. Yeah.
How many hours a week are you putting into the mommy group? Actually being in the mommy group? Is this like a 60-hour work week?
I don't know. I mean, this is like
actually on there,
any free second. I mean, when I was first starting, I was spending hours. When I was first opening my local, especially. now, I don't know, when I go to the bathroom, when I have a second to scroll, when I'm, that type of stuff. Like whenever I'm sitting waiting, I just hop on a mom's group and scroll, and it's pretty much, I don't dedicate certain times to anything. That's part of the problem while I'm so disorganized, but it's like whenever I can jump on now. But before, it was like all as much as I could. It was a lot of time. Yeah.
And are you sending like supplies and that kind of thing, or just saying, hey, gather it yourself?
I don't send supplies,
Good.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, with that many, I would think that would be hard.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had like 14 this year, 14 students online this year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
For the 1 month free trial, is it 5 days only?
Well, they have all the on-demand stuff. So I have 2 programs. I have one that's just all the on-demand content with all the teachers, and I've added interactive games on there and all the pre-recorded stuff. And then I have the Preschool Pals, which is twice a week. So they have access to all the video. And I kind of market it as like a better screen time alternative also, because some people already go to preschool, and I don't want them to think that that would be a reason to not do mine. So for people like that, I offer, I'm like, don't put your kids on YouTube. I have 10 teachers in classes and growing, a whole library that you can put your kids on. So I market it that way as well. So they can watch it whenever. And that's one of the things, is that you can pause them and rewatch them and do, it's on your time, your schedule. That's what I kind of market the on-demand program as.
Well, your prices, are you still with the standard prices that we do? Or
Yeah, but I'm gonna raise them.
Okay, you don't know.
Yeah, that's another thing, is that I priced myself way too low. So that whole year I was busting my butt, and I was like, I'm not making more than 20 from all this. So that was another, I was like, is it worth it? Should I stop? And I was like, no, now that I have all this content, I just need to slow down and focus on other things like marketing. So that's what I'll be doing more of this year. It's just the editing took up all my time, so.
Yeah.
How much are you charging?
I was charging $47 for the on-demand, and then $67 for Preschool Pals. Yeah.
Are your videos drip?
Are they what?
Are they drip in the drip mode?
I took them off drip.
Okay.
And I just manually added them every week, because I was getting videos from a lot of different teachers, so I was having to do that anyway, and I was having to upload mine anyway. And I wasn't uploading them until like Sunday night anyway, so I just released all the new classes every week on Monday.
Okay.
So I didn't put them in a drip feed.
So how many pre-recorded again a week?
For most of the year, I was doing 2 pre-recorded a
So
week,
2
2 half-hour
pre-recorded.
lessons a week, and then I went to 1 a week in like March, when I had all the crazy sleep stuff and realized I had to stop.
And then 2 PALS classes?
Yeah.
And those were how long?
Half an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually I ended up doing 4 PALS classes because the class got too big. So I did like from 4 to 4:30 on Tuesday, Thursdays, and then 4:30 to 5 on Tuesday, Thursdays.
Cool.
Yeah.
At the end of the 3-month trial, what do you tell to the parents? What you say to them?
Yeah, I send an email and I say your 3-month trial has ended, and we hope that you liked it enough to continue with us. If you would, as we said at the beginning of the trial, please fill out this questionnaire so we can better improve our program. If you would, here are the payment links. I just added payment links. Here are the payment links if you'd like to sign up for Preschool Pals or On Demand. And then I also told them about the referral fee. If just the referral bonus for referring other families. And that was pretty much it. And most of them did fill it out, and then like I said, they signed up. I would say 90% filled it out and signed up if they logged into the portal. But most of them, like, I seriously spent hours putting in so many people one day, and I was like, yes, they all want this, they all want a free trial, and then most of them just didn't even log in. You know?
That happened to me too.
Yeah. I mean, when something's totally free, like, I'm sure they get excited, like, oh yeah, and then life goes on and they forget about it. And I tried to send, like, update emails, like, you're halfway through your free trial. And I also said at the end of the month-long free trial, because I was looking at that analytics, I was stalking those analytics, so I knew who logged in. And so I also put, if you haven't gotten a chance to log into the portal, please let me know and we can extend it, because I knew if they hadn't been on, like, I wanted to give them the chance to see it and do it, but most, they're busy. And like I said, I wanted to offer a better screen time alternative, but it's harder to put them on a laptop and log into the portal than it is to throw on YouTube on the TV, and I think that was a big
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah.
You have a year of online classes. So how many videos basically you have for each week?
For my class, there's 2 videos a week for most of the year, and then I went down to 1 video a week for the last couple months.
So not 24 videos for the year.
Well, I don't know. I have 59 videos in there, and there was a couple weeks in between that I didn't, and then I went down. So however that equals out, from like August to I stopped recording in like the end of April or May. Yeah.
Can we ask what kind of feedback you ended up getting from the parents?
Some liked some classes and some didn't. Everyone liked my class. Everyone liked Baby Silas. And this was at the beginning. I had a field trip adventure class that I got really good feedback on. Some kids really loved the music class. Some kids didn't sit through it. I got my sister to make a dance class, and it was like ballet, and it was a little slow, and that wasn't very popular. So it just, it depends. Some kids really loved some classes and didn't love the others, and some kids, it kind of depends on girls or boys like some classes better. I got the art class. They liked the art class. I had a yoga class. And that's why I got the parent feedback, because if I see that they didn't really enjoy that class, I'm not going to continue with that class. I'm going to try and spend the money on a different class or a different teacher.
Right.
So all of those classes you shared to everybody, or just they had to sign up for each?
Nope, it was all included.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, I just wanted to create like a big library that they could go on
Right.
instead of putting on trash TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.